Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst, and this is Before the Box Score, your post-Thanksgiving, post-Arkansas victory edition. That's right. We are one more Arkansas victory and about 20 pounds of turkey heavier than you saw us last, but at least we're all happy and conceivably full and feeling good. A little bit of the Sunday scaries as you get back to work, but hey, that's what this podcast is for. Nathan Hurst, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling pretty. Is smirkful a word? I'm smirking at Arkansas, smirking at other disasters in the SEC here on Sunday night, November 30th, seeing the coaching carousel just roll right off a cliff today. Quite entertaining to be outside looking in on that. So I'm just going to smirk at the rest of the SEC, Arkansas specifically, because they're in a special kind of dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But everyone that's not us and then the programs going to the playoff are in some interesting situations.
Yeah. I always, you can talk about friends, spouses, your kids, basically anybody that you have a lot of regular contact with, and you go, this thing sucks, or I hate doing this with them, or whatever. Like, you have your list of things that are tough to do with somebody. And so in this case, let's just a kid, like, my God, they never eat their food, never stay in bed at bedtime, like, when they sneeze, they wipe it on the wall, like, oh my God. But then you look at somebody else's kid and you go, oh yeah, nope, I'm sticking with mine. I can handle whatever that is. That is Mizzou right now, with their coach versus everybody else's coach. Cause it is a freaking mess out there. And we will touch on that because it's just too juicy to not talk about. But first thing we want to do is talk about the thing that pertains to Missouri specifically. That is the victory over your most hated corporate rivalry, Arkansas, because they did win. They did win the game. All right, that's the important part. And I think my big takeaway from that game is I hope everybody's happy. Number one, they won, so you should be happy. Number two, Eli Drinkwitz and Kirby Moore basically did what everybody's been complaining about all year, and they only ran the ball. Now, a couple of those were scrambles, so-called passes, and of course there's the fumble on one of those passes, but Missouri ran the ball a lot. They ran the piss out of it. In fact, if you look back, I think my final count was, well, let's throw away the Connor Wesselman fumble. 53 runs for 73 yards. 53 times. 53 times. And they only really attempted 9 passes. Now, those are the ones that get logged, right? Sacks plus attempts, but I mean, they didn't do a lot of RPO option stuff, but Nathan Hurst, can you ask more from this offensive staff other than doing the thing that we've asked them to do all year?
I mean, yes, you can, because the way that it played out was really gross and weird. That said, they ultimately did what needed to be done to win the game decisively, and so I will give them props for that. The way they went about doing it was strange. The 9 passes that they actually did call, I think 5 of them were the terrible play action rollout throw incomplete to Brett Norfleet in the flats variety, which is apparently the only play action we've already discussed that they know how to call, and that's the only pass play that they called in the second half. And so decidedly they didn't need to do that, which is great. They gave the ball to Ahmad Hardy. They gave the ball to Jamal Roberts. They strangely decided Bo Pribula quarterback draws needed to happen at least 12 times, which worked most of the time. Not all the time, but it did work most of the time. That was a little strange, the number of times they spammed that. But all in all, it was a productive day. I mean, they had, well, I say that, 390 yards total-ish on offense.
361 if you count the sacks.
Yeah. Okay, counting sacks, yes. 361, that's 25 yards passing, and then 340 whatever rushing, like you said. Yeah. Against a very, very bad Arkansas defense. You would have hoped to see a little more overall, but they won. They probably would have won by 3 touchdowns if Eli Drinkwitz had been, a real meanie about it at the end. If he was, thankfully for Arkansas's sake, they committed a penalty which made it physically impossible for Ahmad Hardy to become the nation's leading rusher, because he needed something like 20 yards, but a penalty on Arkansas cut the field at the very end to like 8, and so he just couldn't do it. Had he done that, I think our Mizzou would have tried to pick it up and probably would have scored a touchdown and
Oh
won
yeah.
38 to 17, which would have been really funny, and I would have enjoyed that. But I'll take the 2-score win. They did what they needed to do. It was weird and gross. We kind of knew it would be because Arkansas is bad and weird and gross, and Mizzou likes to play weird, gross games, and that's kind of what this season has been.
Yeah, I think he provided everything that Missouri fans wanted, and it didn't look good because that's what it looks like when you only really attempt 9 passes to 54 rushes, or 53, not counting the Wesselman screw up. That's what it looks like. Even bad SEC defenses are going to figure it out, and they're going to bottle you up a couple of times. It wasn't a lot. I think Ahmad Harmony got hit twice for loss or for 0. Their stuff rate was not very good. It wasn't good coming in. They I did the math. Missouri's rushing success rate was 55.6%, and 61% of that was Ahmad Hardy. Their passing success rate was 22.2%, which, it's that's
really
not
is
good.
like one of their 9 passing plays was successful, and the rest.
Well, there's 2. There's the first one to Norfleet, and then there's the second. The second one was to Roberts in the third quarter. That went for 10 yards.
Oh yes, the little, and that was a 3rd down conversion, so that was actually a nice little play.
Yeah.
And then the very next play was Ahmad Hardy running 53 yards to give the lead and kind of really start the beginning of the end. So that one was a nice play.
Yeah. So I guess. No, we talked about this in the last show. You cannot just install new plays. That ship sails once the season starts. Maybe you could do it during a bye week or something like that, but this offense was going to be what it's always been all year. There was no installation possible for this play. Okay, great. So you don't have RPOs. You don't have a ton of them anyway. You don't have the play action that isn't forcing your quarterback to turn his back and then doing just the crummy, like you said, short side of the field boot to Norfleet. So we knew that was always going to be the case. And if those are your passing plays that you have, then yeah, I think they did exactly what this fan base has been asking and just run the damn ball. I know that the Bo Perbula draws were kind of weird, but it's what you had. You cannot just call Ahmad Hardy left and right and left and right, because we saw what happened. He would get bottled up. You had to mix it up a little bit, and that's why Bo Perbula, not only from a yardage standpoint, but from a yards per carry standpoint, had his best rushing day of the season. Just simply put, they just said, hey, you can do more now on your ankle that was dislocated 4 weeks ago. Like, we're going to let you go ahead and do that. So that's what this looks like. And it was still eking out a win over a team that had not won a game since September on the road. That's what this looks like. It's just this style of play is incapable of really pulling away unless you're going up against a Louisiana or a UMass. That's what it looks like. And I don't, peppering in some more passes wasn't going to make it better. That's what that 22% success rate means. But that is what a run at first, second, and third looks like. And it's not pretty, but it does get the job done.
It does. I mean, and yeah, they did exactly what they needed to do to beat a really bad team like Arkansas, and it worked. And we haven't talked about it yet, but the defense once again stood on their head. Arkansas has an amazing offense all year. That's the one thing they've actually could be proud of coming out of this dumpster fire of a season, is how explosive their offense was. And the defense gave up one legitimate scoring drive the entire game. And then you can kind of say 1.5 in that Arkansas went down, decided to kick a field goal strangely in the second half, missed it on a 4th and short, which was a very, very bizarre decision by Bobby Petrino. But maybe, even if you count that one, that's 2 scoring opportunities that the defense actually allowed. The other touchdown was on the Perbula fumble, and then the other field goal was on the botched punt. And so those are not on the defense at all. Take those away, it's 31-7, and that was a legitimate blowout at that point. So props to the defense. They've done it. They did it again. They've done it all season. Corey Batoon, get that man a raise. He has done a remarkable job.
Yes, yes.
Give him a raise. Keep him in house. give the rest of the staff raises. Keep them in house. I think they've all earned their money for sure. They've been outstanding, and they were, and what was probably you could say maybe like the 3rd scariest offense they played all year. Just considering everything all in one package. And they played outstanding.
Well,
So it was great.
I don't know what your metric for scary is. I can tell you from SP
It
Plus
was
standpoint.
vibe based.
Okay, vibe based, sure, we'll go with that. This was the third best offense they've gone against, going off of SP Plus. Texas A&M was second, Vanderbilt was eighth, Arkansas was 15th, and their closest comp is Alabama, which was 19th. So that is the realm that they were facing as far as offense goes, and that was the thing they had. Like, it was an offense that was good and also had to be good, just because that defense was such an albatross. I think the thing for Arkansas, and the curious thing to me, is that they decided to do two quarterbacks, and they decided to do it based off of quarters.
Yeah, that was strange.
Like, starting KJ Jackson, I was like, okay, hey, that's a hell of a screwball. Like, that's going to be tough. And he was the better quarterback by far. Had better rushing success rates, had better passing success rates. The offense seemed to move just better with him in it. I think not only just being a backup, but being a lefty was really weird. And it worked a lot. Now, there's a lot of drops that came along with it. Clearly, they had the Arkansas receiving corps was not as comfortable catching passes from him as from Taylor Green as they have for the past 2 years. But boy, they were able to move it. And then, yoink, there he goes. And I know it's senior day, but in comes Taylor Green, and there goes the offense just right down the tubes. It was so bizarre. And I understand wanting to play the guy for senior day because there's nothing else to play for. Just let him do it. Stick to one and do it. Bobby Petrino's got no skin in this game. He's not the next head coach. I don't know why he did that. Why, Hurst?
It was the whole thing was so bizarre. He had nothing to lose. They had already told him he's not getting the head job. He had released or the full-time job. He released a statement this earlier in the week saying, thanks so much to Arkansas fans for giving me this opportunity to return. Basically, I'm out after this game. Thanks, that sort of thing. He had literally nothing to lose. So, it's one thing if you're building for the future and you're like, okay, let's play the freshman, get him some experience because he's going to be our guy next year. Petrino doesn't care about that. He doesn't care what next year. So he's not trying to develop anyone. He might say that, to make himself look good, but he's a scumbag. I don't believe that that's the case. Yeah. And then, so why they aren't playing the guy who they think who's going to be the best? And maybe Jackson is the guy they thought was the better player. I don't know. Taylor Green's had a great career. He had a great year. So I would, unless he's injured, and that was the reason they were limiting him on the field, which I haven't heard the case. I just don't know why they didn't go with Taylor Green. He's a senior. Just that's more the classy move than anything. Is let the senior just play his way out.
Yeah.
So that's a really bizarre decision. The decision to kick the field goal there, instead of go for it on 4th and 2, very bizarre. With how good their offense had been all year, you'd think they could probably pick up 2 yards. I was, as an opposing fan, when you're hoping they kick the field goal, as a coach, you need to do the other thing. Do what the other team doesn't want you to do. Yeah. And I was very much not wanting them to go for it. And so they kicked the field goal, and even if they had made it, I would have been happy. And Mizzou fans probably would have been happy. They missed it, which is hilarious. And that was basically the sign that the game was kind of going out of reach for them. So very bizarre decision by him. I'm wondering what that guy's going to end up doing. I guess someone will give him another shot as an OC because he's very good at that, but he's also really good at leaving your program as just a smoldering waste by the time he leaves it. This case as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know Taylor Green, I think, had a minor lower body scare against Texas, and they took him out, and he could have come back. He was totally clear to come back, but they just didn't do it because of Texas, and they're not going to win. So I know there's a little bit of hesitancy, maybe, but he wasn't even listed on the injury report right before the game started. So I don't know. It was weird. And if he's trying to try out KJ Jackson for his next stop, okay, you gotta get that job first, man. I don't know what. I don't know what you're trying to do here. And KJ, he was recruited by Pittman. I don't know how much loyalty he has to Petrino, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. So very odd, but it really kept the offense out of sorts. And Green was the worst passer by far on Saturday. I mean, it's not by the success rates. 38% for KJ Jackson, 23% for Taylor Green. That's pretty substantial. I know there were some drops that plagued both and really plagued everybody on Saturday just because of the conditions on the field. But I mean, you had Mike Washington 2 drops, and that was both. Yeah, that was both with Jackson. So Jackson had 3 drops, 4 drops, and then Green had to suffer through 3. So like nobody really did anybody any favors in this game. It was odd. It was odd for a guy with nothing to lose, and I appreciate it. Made the end of the game a little bit easier, but yeah, that's why you're not the head coach, man. You don't make good decisions.
Yeah. Hey, bottom line, Mizzou gets the win, continues the hilarious streak against Arkansas.
Boy,
Now overall record 12-4, 9-1 since Mizzou came into the SEC. No, they've won 2. Arkansas's won 2.
yeah,
9-2
yeah.
since Mizzou has come into the SEC. So,
Just
yeah, it's just, it's just how it should be. It's just hilarious. Hilarious.
I will admit I care to win that game, and I'm annoyed when I lose it. I don't know by how many more levels than just any other conference game, but also just that fan base pisses me off because they always insert themselves into everything. Like
I more want to win it because of how annoying Arkansas fans are
yeah,
in general, but more about the quote unquote rivalry, or is it a rivalry? Is it not? Who cares?
yeah,
They are so against it being a rivalry that it makes me want to beat them just so that to make them more mad about it, because they don't want it to be a rivalry at this point because they're getting dominated in it. So if they can emotionally remove themselves from it in whatever capacity, it I guess makes them not hurt as bad. So whatever they've got to do, mental health, take care of yourselves, Arkansas fans. But I'm going to just be happy, winning this game every time, and that's great.
yeah.
And it doesn't have to involve hate. It just involves, and to me, it's just funny. I find humor in it because it makes them so mad, and so that's great. That's great for me.
I got 2 online pals, Tucker Franklin, Saul Malone. Shout out to those guys. I don't know if they listen to the show. Maybe they said they did, but former Arkansas fight guys. They're cool as hell. I love talking to them. I love interacting with them. They're Arkansas fans. They're reasonable ones, so it's okay to interact. So like I do feel bummed for them because it's like, boy, this game comes around every year and you lose it. Or the guy from SEC Media Days said Arkansas is just a better program. They just haven't found a way to beat Mizzou. Okay, interesting. Interesting way to view that. But it's proximity, man. It's proximity and repetition. And what sucks is that it could be a good rivalry if Arkansas ever got their stuff together. What is the good rivalry for Missouri? We talked about this. It's South Carolina. Why? Because every game is memorable. You got the same city name. There's a lot of similarities as far as the program goes, as far as tiers go, and like just general aesthetic and vibes. Like that is a good rivalry because you're never really sure who's going to win, and it doesn't really matter who's having the better season. It's just kind of it's always just nuts. And frankly, feet to the fire, Missouri Auburn is just a nutso matchup every time. And if that was played more often, number one, the craziness might mellow out eventually. But at the same time, like Tiger Fight is a lot of fun. I like beating Auburn. I like playing Auburn. I like beating them too. But that's just a nutso game, and that's the kind of thing that creates rivalry. And we don't have it on football. Would you say it's more of a basketball rivalry?
Yeah, I definitely, just because of the Mike Anderson saga a decade plus ago now, 15 years ago now, dang. No, decade. I don't know. It's been a while. It's also been much more even. I mean, I think Arkansas probably has a slight edge there, back and forth, but I mean, Mizzou has won plenty of times too, so there is much more of a back and forth there on the basketball side of things, and they play twice a year as opposed to once a year.
Yeah,
that always I think helps as well.
Also, Arkansas just always takes Missouri's scraps. They took Mike Anderson, they took Barry Odom, they took Trey Williams, they took Markel Utze. Obviously
Courtney Crutchfield,
Trevon Brazile. Like they take Missouri guys. Now we recruit Arkansas kids and bring them in, and then Arkansas takes them back. Not always the same person, but you get the idea. So like there's a transactional kind of rivalry around there. But I I don't know, man. It's so funny because I always sweat this game. It's like, oh, this is the year when the streak ends, and then nope. Not this time. Better look next time. And next time is going to be interesting Because we talked on the Wednesday show about how Arkansas hired Alex Golish, and LOL, JK, not doing that. Now they're with Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, and all I can say is I feel better about the streak with Silverfield in charge than I do with Golish. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Silverfield is less scary of a name for sure from an opposing fan base standpoint. He's still, Arkansas fans online, the ones online at least, which are always the worst snapshot of any fan base.
Yeah.
Very disappointed and upset about that hire. Kind of annoying for a few reasons, mainly because who did they think they could get? The fact that Golish, they had him in hand until he got a better job. That's why he didn't sign earlier in the week when his name was popped out there. Is because he said, yeah, that's great if I don't get a better offer. And he did get a better offer. He got an Auburn offer, which he would prefer to go to that brand of crazy than the Arkansas brand of crazy. That in itself should tell you a whole lot. So, who else are you going to get? They were slow on the take to get Eric Morris, and maybe Eric Morris turned them down too. I don't know. He picked Oklahoma State, which is its own dumpster fire, over Arkansas, if they even offered him in the first place.
He picked a Big 12 job. Is what he did.
And so Arkansas, when you look at the hierarchy of open jobs in the SEC, Florida, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, all rank higher than Arkansas, and that any neutral party would say that's the case. So who did they think they were going to hire other than a sitting G5 head coach who has had success at Memphis? Maybe not the amount of success he should, based on the resources that program has compared to its peers. But they've had success at that program for the last 3-4 years. They've been a good, solid to very good program in the G5 in the American. They weren't going to pull a sitting P4 head coach. Or they could go, I guess, the offensive coordinator route, but then you're bringing in someone who has no head coaching experience. So, I don't think it's that bad of a hire for them, because I don't think they could have gotten someone a whole lot better. That said, I'm not too worried about it not too worried about him creating a dynasty at Arkansas either. So we'll see how it plays out. He's not going to be worse. He's not going to be worse than they've been the last decade. He may be the same, but he's not going to be Chad Morris. He might be Sam Pittman, but I don't think he's going to be worse than Sam Pittman. So we'll see.
I thought Sam Pittman was good. He just suffered from the fact that he coached at Arkansas. I think you said on the last show, it's like, it's your circumstances. You can't help it that you're Arkansas.
And it's not an unfunded program. They have big time power. Drinkwitz was talking about Fortune 500 companies getting involved in Mizzou. They've got those. They have Walmart, which is like the Fortune 1 company. They've got Tyson Chicken. They've got JB Hunt, which is a massive trucking company. They've got massive corporations right there in Fayetteville that support the program heavily. But the interior of that whole program is a mess. I don't think they don't have a whole lot of alignment. They have big donors, but they all want something different. It's a big time mess, a lot like Auburn has gone through in the past. I think Auburn has kind of figured it out a little bit more in the recent years. But it's a mess for a number of different ways. But it's not like they don't have any money. No. It's just not pushing in the right direction.
You didn't even mention Jerry Jones, their alum.
Yeah, and Jerry Jones as well.
There's just a lot of cowboy saint influence in Arkansas, and the powers that could invest, though naturally could invest in that program. Well, the Walmart clan has the Rams. Jerry Jones has the Cowboys. JB Hunt's pretty involved with New Orleans Saints. There's a lot of other interests, and the superpower of the South is that there's not a lot of pro franchises down there. That's why they clam onto their college teams so ardently, to have kind of that distraction to your booster core of professional sports and keep them interacted over there. It makes it tougher, even though the possibility is there. And Missouri suffers the same thing. There's plenty of pro sports in the state of Missouri on both sides. And that's part of it too. But they've been able to work around that. They've been able to make that work, and Arkansas seemingly has not. So I know we're a Missouri podcast and we're talking about Arkansas problems, but we just beat them. Just want to throw that out there. And they got a new coach. And yeah, I don't know. Any hire can work. Obviously, ask Eli Drinkwitz. We weren't super hot on that one when he came in, and we're doing just fine. It's just you only go off of what you know. And Ryan Silverfield has gotten a lot of success by being one of the better funded and better access to talent programs in the American. And how many times has he won the conference? Once? Zero?
Well, I don't think they might have made the championship game one time. I don't know.
I don't think they won it. You know, he won 10 games. He won 11 games this year. I think they're 8-4. And this is again one of the wealthiest, best access to talent teams in that conference. You know, when people gave guff about bringing in Kim Anderson on the basketball team. Why? Because he won all those national championships, because he had way better players than everybody and did not have to be tactically sound to do anything. He could just roll out and win natties. Ryan Silverfield could just roll out the most athletic team he could and still couldn't win the conference. And now he's coming into the one of the lower funded and messiest programs that you can get into. It does have access to talent just like every other SEC team, but you don't know. Also, where's Mike Norvell? Getting close to getting fired at Florida State, but they can't because they're broke. Okay, what about Justin Fuente? What did he do at Virginia Tech? Sucked.
He's currently a radio play-by-play guy for TCU. He doesn't even have a coaching job.
He's not even a coach anymore.
No.
The Memphis tree, if you want to call it that, it's very fruitful outside of Memphis. Now, things can change. I'm not writing it off forever, but I don't know, man. But to your point, who else were they going to get? Who else were they going to get? And you just kind of have to roll a dice with a overlooked candidate, much like Mizzou has had to do in the past, and then just hope you found your guy, and then invest heavily. And that's it. But see, aren't you glad you have Eli Drinkwitz locked down, at least for the next year?
It's wonderful to be not participating in the current cycle.
Yeah.
Because in a normal year, Arkansas maybe has their pick of John Summerall or Alex Golish, but not in a year when there are 4 other higher programs on the hierarchy than you.
Yeah.
And Arkansas and Ole Miss, they ended up hiring their own defensive coordinator, so they didn't really jump into the pool too much really. But if they had, they would have had their pick of candidates over Arkansas. That's for sure.
Yeah. The Ole Miss thing is so weird. So weird. Lane Kiffin's antics, the ESPN backing him for some unknown reason, the whole throwing ultimatums at his offensive staff. Hey, coach him through the playoff or leave now with me, or you're never getting a job offer from me again. Like, I know decorum has kind of been one of those things that gets thrown by the wayside in the 2020s, but kind of feels like if you're a dick, you should pay consequences for it. And we're just in a consequence-free society at this point. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, well, decorum has never been one of Lane Kiffin's priorities.
No.
His whole career. He's very good at what he does, which is win football games, and in this society, that's what matters.
Yep.
Can you win games? The answer is yes, you can. As long as you win games for the 3 or 4 years you're here, even if you leave a smoking crater after you're gone, which is the case we talked about Petrino, also the case with Kiffin. Every situation he leaves, there's some massive scandal or something going on when he leaves. Now, he's leaving Ole Miss not in the way he built up the program. I think they're in an okay place. They've got good NIL boosters. They have some continuity there with Pete Golding staying on as the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
That said, if he's poaching all of his coaches and not letting them, offensive coaches anyway, and not letting them coach in the playoff, what is Ole Miss's chances to succeed in the playoff? Probably very, very low. Class is not one of his virtues. And then you mentioned ESPN glazing him the whole way entirely because all of those ESPN guys, guess what? They are represented by the same agency that represents Lane Kiffin. And that is a massive conflict of interest. ESPN's really not much for journalism these days, but not disclosing that publicly as someone who is a journalism school grad, teaches a journalism class, that is a huge problem. To be doing that over and over again. 95% of the people watching that don't realize that those guys, Nick Saban, represented by the exact same agent, A lot of those same reporters not reporters, media figureheads represented by the same agency, CAA, not necessarily Jimmy Sexton, but his agency represented by the same one. They are all very much pulling in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that's really messed up. It's really gross. The conflict of interest is there. And that is one of the biggest issues with, college sports in general at this point, I think. Not the number one issue, but it is a big, huge issue. This conflict of interest, athletic directors hiring coaches who are represented by the same agent as theirs, that's a huge conflict of interest. That's one of the big reasons these salaries get bigger and bigger every year. And that's CAA's job, is to get that done. They're doing they're doing their job. But everyone else, the institutions are suffering from it. The fans are suffering from it. The players are suffering from it. Everyone's suffering from it except for these, top end coaches and media personalities that can end up making a lot of money off of it, and that sucks. And It's gross. The whole thing is gross. No one is covering themselves with glory. Feel bad for Ole Miss fans. I don't blame Lane Kiffin for taking the LSU job. If he wants that job, that's a great job, a top 3 job in the country. By all means, you've earned with your success at Ole Miss, a previously pretty terrible program. You've earned the opportunity to take that LSU job. But the way that he's handled it, the way that his representation has handled that, has just been really gross.
Yeah. The reason capitalism works is because it incentivizes individual greed, which you're never going to be able to legislate or just not count for. Right? It's the only one that really does that. And that's why people embrace it. Okay, hey, I got to do best for me, and this is the environment where I can do best for me. Now, the caveat to that is that there's an agreed set of principles and guardrails to keep that greed in place. And they don't really have that in college football. They don't have it. And so that greed gets to run and do whatever the hell it wants. And yeah, the players suffer, the fans suffer. I do feel bad for Ole Miss fans. I know Lane Kiffin gave him crap for not showing up at games, and that's true. Like, they don't, okay? But also, the ones who did are getting hurt here. And the players who invested into the Kiffin Ole Miss team and that entire staff who got them to this point, I mean, they've been playoff flirtatious for the past 3 years, and now this is the year that they were going to get in, and now it's getting torched, really napalmed on the way out, right before it's going to happen. Boy, you need guardrails in place, right? You need to bring back decorum. You need to bring back a set of standards that everybody agrees to, like, hey, this is not okay. And for all the hand-wringing of people saying, well, our player's going to, hit the portal in the playoff, they're going to skip the playoff to, for their next, like the Bo Prabula thing. Here we have a coach doing it right now. Like, it was always going to happen. I didn't realize it was going to happen this fast. But there's no consequences for your actions. We always talk about, FAFO. Mess around, find out, right? There's a lot of messing around in our society. And there's not a whole lot of finding out. So, I don't know. I mean, the coaching fraternity is a tight one, despite the number of guys that are in it. You'd think that, going into these conventions, they go, yeah, I'd never work with that dude. But it doesn't seem to matter because they're going to throw LSU money at it. And governor's going to get out there and tell you about how stupid it was to sign a $100 million contract for somebody. They're going to give the next guy a $110 million contract because, you know what? No consequences for anything. That's how this works. Go Tigers! You beat Arkansas. That was pretty cool.
It was fun.
How far away is Ahmad Hardy for the single season rushing record?
I think it's like 75 yards. 70 yards. Something very attainable in the bowl game. Depending on who they play. If they play a team with a really good defense that can stop the run game, A, Mizzou will lose, and B, he probably won't beat that. If they play a team that is average to below average against the run, he'll have 200 yards like he does and Mizzou will win. We said that before the Arkansas game. We said that before the Mississippi State game. We said that before the Oklahoma game. That determines whether or not this iteration of Mizzou football is successful or not. Can they run the ball? Because the defense is going to show up. But if they can't run the ball, they're not going to score any points, like the Oklahoma game. And the defense will They'll eventually screw up on special teams at some point, which will give the other team a short field or 7 points, and then they'll lose. But if they can run the ball, it won't matter, and they'll win the game.
So he is at 1,560 yards, I think is what it is right now. Are you, okay, last question. Are you as far as recognition goes, are you a Cody Schrader 1,627 yards as a single season rushing record guy? Or are you a Devin West 1,703 yards because we're counting the bowl kind of rushing record guy? Which one?
No, definitely count the ball. If we're counting the ball in one, we count the ball in all.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will recognize Devin West mostly because he was my favorite player growing up. But that is the one that I recognize. No disrespect to Mr. Schrader, who was excellent. So Hardy is very close to breaking Schrader's record. 1703 is a big ask, but again, if you got the right opponent and the right bowl, they don't care.
Like, he's done it before.
He's done it before. So anyway, yeah, we've completed the regular season. This is your last post-game review for a while. I know we spent half of it talking about Arkansas's coaching issues. Sorry, the game was kind of boring. But we will still stick around. One show a week, kind of going forward. We got signing day this week coming up. We got an opponent to preview for bowls. We got talk about our Christmas wish list for the portal, potential coaching moves. I don't know what's going to happen there, man. I know there's a lot of people who want to hire and fire people. We'll see what actually happens now that Drinkwitz has more money to play with his staff. So there's a lot to talk about. We'll do one show a week, and then we'll get back to you with the bowl game show and all that stuff. So we're not going anywhere yet. We're just winding down a little bit. Hurst, how was Thanksgiving? Are you still full?
Yes. I struggled to eat dinner tonight.
Good.
Because we didn't really have any room to put it anywhere. Mm-hmm. But I suffered. I made it work. I found a way to get that last bit of leftover stuffing down the gullet, because by tomorrow it's probably not going to be good. So hey, this is not going to waste. The one thing that Thanksgiving leftovers will not do is go to waste. So I may have to take one for the team, but it's a sacrifice that I have been and am always willing to make.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I think we got probably one more day's worth of leftovers, and then we're moving on to Christmas. We're going to move on to the next opponent. So, no, it was good. It's always good to eat and watch football, and your Tigers won, so that always makes it a little bit easier. But that's the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment or rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hurst, and of course, you can follow the Rock M flagship at Rock M Nation. And our podcasting outlet at Rock M Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.